Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Sunset Talks, a podcast by Sunset Hospitality Group. In this episode of Sunset Talks, we sit down with Gilbert Khalil, Director of Design and Technical Services, right from the private villa of Drift, Dubai. In this episode, we will explore the art and strategy behind hospitality design. From his personal journey to shaping immersive guest experiences, Gilbert will share insights on balancing aesthetics and functionality, managing expansion, and integrating smart solutions. Hello, Gilbert. How are you?
Still alive and breathing.
Which is good enough.
It's a good thing, right?
That's a good thing, exactly.
Everybody asks me the same question. I answer the same thing every time.
The most important thing is to have everything in the right way and rolling, as we say in the word of radio TV and stuff like that. First of all, my question is for all my guests. It always starts with, what does "we bring people together" mean to you? The motto of Sunset Hospitality Group.
Listen, for me, because of the fact that I love life, I love gatherings, I love to have people over, I love game nights. Sometimes I have 20 people over, 25 people over. I feel like I belong in this statement, right?
Your wife is so lucky.
She enjoys it as well. She enjoys it as well. So we enjoy having gatherings, and again, like a game night is for us is something very cool. And then also when you do these kind of gatherings, it involves also being hospitable and actually, bringing the food and beverage aspect there, right? So I feel like I belong in this statement, and I feel it also
complement your type of character.
Exactly. And then it's even more interesting for me when it comes to Sunset, because for me, I am creating the locations where we bring people together.
Yes, exactly.
So when I create a venue that is perfect to bring these people together and be in a nightlife venue or in a fine dining venue, or I am helping create the perfect location to accommodate this saying.
And to create this lifestyle experience
exactly.
for them. But what made you pursue a career in design? Did you study design? Was it your passion? How did it go?
I mean, since I was let's say a teenager, I was always someone who was sketching. I was always I used to even sketch sneakers, do design for Air Jordans, for Nike. So I always had this passion of designing, and then I designed, like when I even went into automotive design. I loved to draw cars. I loved to draw. But then in Lebanon, back in the days, for you to do, for example, something as big as industrial design or automotive design, it wasn't there.
Yes.
And the closest thing to what I liked, after I understood that I have this passion for design, was architecture.
Okay.
And back in the days, it wasn't easy to just go online and search for a design school around the world and just go there. It was through the embassy, and you had to send emails, and then they will check for you, and they'll tell you that you can go to these universities, and they'll give you some brochures. It wasn't as easy as today. Okay. So I took the decision to do architecture in Lebanon, and this was the beginning for me in design, basically, when it comes to a career.
And how did you shift from that to the hospitality one?
It wasn't really a choice.
Okay.
To be fair, when it comes to Sunset, I have been a designer I'm an architect, and I have been designing for the last 15 years plus. And I used to be a design architect where I used to do all kinds of projects when it comes to mixed use, residential, hospitality as well. Any kind of design was something that I would be doing in the design firms that I worked for.
Okay.
Funny enough, when I was in Dubai, I designed the Sunset Hospitality office.
Oh, okay.
It was through a contractor that I knew that introduced me to Antonio and
the co-founders of the company.
Correct. And then this person introduced me because they needed a designer back then to do the office, which is here now, our Sunset Hospitality office in Marina Plaza. So this is where I met Antonio, and this is where I think we clicked when it comes to his taste and what I can provide and how I do design and how I see things, how he sees things. And this is how we met. Then after maybe a couple of years, out of nowhere, he sends me a message. Gilbert, we are looking to do some hotels and I want to discuss this with you. So I thought that he also wanted me to, as a consultant, yes, on a project basis, to come and consult on a design for a hotel, etc. Then to my surprise, no, he wanted someone to be in-house as a director of design and technical services. And this is how I joined Sunset Hospitality, because I had the background of architecture and interior design, and I was able to go into hospitality because I had done also hospitality design as well. And architecture as well, which is taking care of a full hotel. And this is how we met. This is how I became part of Sunset, how I came into designing and working in hospitality.
Gilbert, there's something about Sunset Hospitality Group design which I believe there's a philosophy behind it. When you joined, did you find a certain philosophy? Did you create a certain philosophy, or you created with Antonio and Naz a philosophy? What is it?
Listen, the good thing about our Antonio and Naz, our management, our higher management, is that they know what they want. I worked for a lot of clients who have no clue what they want, and it's very hard to work with such clients because you have to educate the client as a designer. Otherwise, the project will never end. You will never get to a solution that he wants because he doesn't know what solution he needs. And the good thing about us is that everybody is aligned in this company and know what they want. So whatever we create when it comes to, again, to all our sectors, from hotels to fine dining to nightlife to day life, it's always very clear, the approach and the target that we need to get to. And this makes things very easy. And that's why the philosophy, basically, I would say, is that they know what they want and they know what their guests and their clients want.
Okay. So let's say you're designing now a new property. Okay. How do you balance between the aesthetics, the functionality, and even the guest experience? Because at the end of the day, we are a lifestyle management company, a lifestyle hospitality management company. How do you balance all that, knowing that we have 4 divisions?
When we work on design, for example, and we create a brief, we do it with a top design firm around the world. We always try to find a good designer for this concept. We also have a lot of coordination to do with everyone, with the operations team, sometimes with the marketing team. For example, if we're creating a concept from scratch, they have to know what we're doing. We have to know what they're thinking about so that the name that they are creating for this concept works. So we have to coordinate with all sides. Operations, because we need to make sure they have enough space for their back of house, for their kitchens, the ins and out from the back of house, from the kitchen. Does it work for them? Is it in the right location? The service stations, as simple as that. We have to make sure that we have enough service stations for this operation team to actually make this happen. And this is why the coordination is very important with all sides in our field. It even goes to as simple as legal and accounting, because you have budgets, you have with legal you have to make sure licenses work, etc., etc.
One of the discussions that we had before, you and me, we were discussing that when you focus, let's say we're working on a venue into the nightlife. The things that you focus in a venue or a property for nightlife are different than the things that you focus on when it's an F&B.
Very true, yeah.
How does that...
This is also very important because, giving this example, for example, when it comes to nightlife, we don't focus as much on the materials and the design in the space, because for us the AV is more important. For example,
the audio
visual, yes, the lighting, the lasers, the LED screens, all of this is stronger than the design itself, because in a night venue you see the lights,
exactly,
and the lights reflect on the materials, so we know also where to put the right material when we know that the light will hit it. For example, sometimes you don't need to go into a very expensive flooring because it's a night venue and it's a heavy duty flooring and needs to be, for 500 people standing there, they will never see the flooring, but they will see all the audio visual effects. While in a fine dining establishment, for example, no, you have to go into the premium materials, the marble, the details, the brass finishes. We even go into the smallest details where we do an interesting design for the AC grills that works with the concept of the brand, etc., etc. So everything you look around you during the day or during the night has to be a premium and exquisite design.
Yeah. When you work on a let's say a new venue, and you have different same type of F&B, but in different locations in different countries, do you have challenges with that? Like if you are having Sushi Samba in Dubai and now we have Sushi Samba in Abu Dhabi and we have Sushi Samba coming soon in Milan, and one in Singapore already open.
I can give you two examples. When it comes, for example, let's talk about Sushi Samba since you brought it up. It depends on the space as a start, not only the location in which country it is. So if you have a beautiful space with high ceilings, we tackle the design in a different way, like we did in Sushi Samba Dubai and we did in Singapore. When it comes to Abu Dhabi, for example, we had a different space with lower ceilings, so the whole design was tackled differently.
Okay.
Because we couldn't do, for example, the beautiful bamboo ceiling that we have in Sushi Samba Dubai and in Singapore. We had to do a different kind of bamboo approach when it comes to the design of the bamboo. Still use it, so you still have, for example, this kind of element, but change the way we put it in the design.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to cultures, we don't always have to change, but I'll give you a different example. When it comes to Met, beach resorts, yes, our chains of hotels. The hotel that we have, for example, in Bodrum, which is a beach resort, or the hotel that we have in Marbella, which is also a beach resort, they have a bit the same DNA. It's a beach resort, and it has to feel like it has the DNA of Met. But then one is works more in Spain, while the other works more in Bodrum. But they are all both on the Mediterranean, so it's very close, right?
It's very close, yeah.
When it comes to other Mets that we're doing, for example, Met La Florida and Met Fort Canning, Met La Florida and Barcelona and Met Fort Canning in Singapore, we are putting Met in a 100-year-old hotel that already has its character, and you cannot just come and implement any kind of design. No, you have to feel that the space that you are creating within this hotel actually works for Met and for a 100-year-old hotel that has a strong character. So it's and how you tackle it, because Met La Florida is a 100-year-old building that is heritage, etc. in Spain, while in Singapore it's a 100-year-old colonial style building that has a different character to it. So again, it's very important with the materials, with the furniture design, with the whole approach changes, so that you can actually work within this strong establishment.
When you think about a design department in a company or in a hospitality management, why would they have, or why there is a necessity to have a design department into a company instead of outsourcing it?
Design management is important for any client. It doesn't have to be hospitality. It could be healthcare. It could be, malls. For example, any big mall brand has also its own team. But why is it important? Because this team, first of all, will understand your brand, okay, and start to evolve it as we go. When you bring a company from the outside, they will do their research and help you out to do a project, but it's not a continuous scope, right? But in our case, we are always evolving our brands. So, for example, when we do a first Sushi Samba and then we do a second Sushi Samba, it evolves. We know how to make it better. We know what works better for different areas, for the Samba room, for the dining side, etc. And it's also important because the design management itself is important, because at the end, you are an architect who is the client now. It's not the client who doesn't have...
You know what you want.
Exactly, because I am able to manage a designer and he cannot I'm not gonna put it, but he cannot, let's say, tell me something that is wrong.
Yeah.
I know what is right and what is wrong, so he cannot play around with me,
Exactly.
right? So I protect the client, I protect, in my case, Sunset, from the designer, from the contractor, from the project manager, and I make sure that, in our case in Dubai, for example, because we're established here and I have a strong team and we've been doing projects for the last 5 years and a lot of projects, because yearly
The pipeline is full, as
exactly. We also change the game a little bit when it comes to design management. We're not just doing the typical design management role where you're just handling all sides.
Mm-hmm.
We are more hands-on. For example, when I do a design with any consultant around the world, I take this design, and when I take the schematic design and approve it, so we do create the brief normally like design managers. We do give our comments as we go until we get to a concept that is approved and a schematic design that is approved.
Okay.
From there, first of all, I don't need to pay more to the designer to continue the process from schematic all the way to the execution of the project.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need to look into the details. He doesn't need to come on site. He doesn't need to do the snagging because we are already strong.
You're doing that.
We are already strong architects and designers and interior designers, and we have the capabilities to do so.
Okay.
And then, in addition to that, when I take the schematic design, if the designer has specified a material that has a long lead, it's like a long lead item, like a flooring that needs 6 months, and I have to finish my project in 4 months. In reality, you should, as a design manager, go back to the designer and ask him, okay, I have a problem with this material. Find me something that doesn't need this much time because I have to open in 4 months, and this needs 6 months. We don't do that. I propose directly to our management. We have a problem here. I am proposing even a nicer design for this material. This is it. It works with the full material sample board. And then this is where also we have the possibility to value engineer, because I may choose also a material that is cheaper than what the designer has proposed and that may also even look better. Additionally to that, we also are very much hands-on when we start developing this schematic design with the contractor. So when we finalize the tender and we have a contractor on board, we take those schematic designs and he starts to do shop drawings directly. We don't need detailed design. Those shop drawings are what we need to build the project. And this is where we are very much hands-on. And I remember when I was here for Sushi Samba, for example, I was alone. I was the first person in the company in my first year, and I was working on Sushi Samba and Aura. I remember signing off more than 300 drawings, putting comments on every drawing, what we need to do here, where we need to put the skirting, where we need to put the backsplash, how I want to protect the project and make it more durable, and so on and so on. So we are very much hands-on, that we do value engineering, we bring materials that are better, and then also, additionally to that as well, we have a lot of items that we do as client direct. For example, all the furniture, the FF&E, we do the client direct approach where we go and tender it with 3 FF&E suppliers, correct? And then decide on which is the best quality one and the best price one. And then we save this 15% that the contractor takes when he takes a turnkey project and he gets you everything.
You're literally the guardian angel.
Yes,
for the
100%,
for the company. So
100%.
Now I think everyone is convinced.
No.
We convinced
everybody
everyone
has his role. Everybody has his role. No, but this helps a lot because we get a lot of client directs. The lighting we get as a client direct, the audiovisuals we get as a client direct, the accessories, simple things like the curtains, the things that we know we can get and it doesn't affect the fit out.
Yes.
Because I can get a loose furniture and it doesn't affect the fit out. And then if I save a lot of money there, I can save in many sides this money and use it somewhere else if I can, or just save it.
Exactly.
So, and then we are also on site. Additionally, we don't need the architect to be on site and come see if the drawings are being done as per the details, because we already did the details and we already gave our comments and we already have a final approved schematic shop drawing that the contractor will take and do on site. And then we are there on site and weekly meetings. making sure the quality is as per our standards, until we reach the final stages of the project where we do the simplest, smallest snagging from paint, from termination
The very
details,
tiny
etc.,
details.
etc. Until then we deliver it to
Yeah.
operations.
When you do a designing for a project, we know that Sunset Hospitality Group has a huge portfolio of 35 plus brands. Some of them are managed by Sunset, others are owned by Sunset. And when you come to design a certain property that is managed by Sunset, is it different than the way you manage a property that is owned by Sunset?
I think you're talking about management agreements where we have an owning company that comes to
Correct.
us and tells us, I want to put in my hotel one of your brands.
Correct.
It's a similar approach, but there are things that we have to take into consideration. For example, when we give them a budget, it's not us. We cannot always come and say, let's add the budget because we need this item. No, we have to abide by this budget to 100%. And this is where we help them also with the value engineering and so on to make sure we stay on this budget.
Yeah.
So this is something very important. We cannot exceed a budget with a landlord that already has approved this budget. Additionally, if it's, again, like a hospitality group that has hotels and they want our brands,
our F&Bs to
our
be
F&Bs
inside.
to be in their hotels, because they are in hospitality, they have their own approach. But when we come and start doing projects for them with our brands, sometimes there's this kind of discussion that happens where I tell them, no, this is how we do it, and this is why we do it as such. And we have to
meet middle ground, let's say.
Yes, to make sure we don't mess with our standards and still give them something that they think works.
Okay.
I'll give you a small example. Sometimes, like we were doing a private cabanas in a beach club, and then we were pushing to have an access for service from the back, so that the waiters can come with the food and the beverages from the back. And for us, it's important because it doesn't affect the client.
Exactly.
And then the owning company is like, no, let's save on this passage, let's save on these doors, let's save on this connection, because the waiter can come from the front. So here I have to come and tell him, in our standards, no, we prefer to have the service hidden and the waiters come from one side, and it doesn't affect the experience of the client. And he still feels he has this privacy in the private cabana, and he doesn't feel like he has waiters coming in and out all the time.
You educate them.
I mean, it's kind of an education. It's not an education. It's let's say it's our standards. And if I want to put our brand in a with a hotel brand, they have to understand that this is why we do it. And if we do it as such, it's because I'll give you a more premium experience.
Exactly, there's a reason behind that.
So,
especially that Sunset offers a very nice and 360 lifestyle experience to our guests. You don't want our guests to come and say, this is different than I'm used to from Sunset.
100%.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do this comparison. You know, they are in Met Marbella, and then they go to Met Bodrum, and they do compare it. They feel it's the same approach, the same experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
When you do the, you just mentioned about some differences between, let's say, way of managing or owning projects. Do you fear sometimes that budget constraints might affect a project?
I mean, in any project, we put a preliminary capex, right? And we try, good planning gives you the best result. So we try to plan as much as possible, to think of every little item, making sure that this brand within this space, within these square meters, need this much investment.
Yeah.
And we make sure the capex is as accurate as possible. Of course, sometimes, again, a material that is chosen by a designer, we can't change because, for example, our manager thinks it's great. We cannot change it. We have to keep it. But then it affects my budget. Then I have to be smart enough to value engineer in different places that nobody feels, that will not affect the design,
not affect the experience
at all. You know, it could be in back of house. It could be the way I clad the kitchens. It could be the flooring of the kitchen. It could be simple things that I can save on that the guest will not see, will not feel, and will not affect the front of house, let's say. And there's always tricks, in our field to be able to do that in a smart way.
Let's imagine that you launched a new property. It's open and people are visiting, guests are coming, enjoying, but you were asked to revisit or to re-edit one of the sections of this property. Did it happen before? Do you do it? How does it work?
This happens a lot, because if it doesn't happen, then there's an issue.
Okay.
If we think we have created something perfect from the beginning, it could be, sometimes we do create something perfect from the beginning, but if it doesn't happen occasionally, then something is wrong, because any space adapts to the client's needs. It could be anything. Sometimes you have also spaces that are not used that become usable.
Like Instagrammable
for example,
sections,
sometimes we have a dead space, but it's perfect for an Instagrammable location, and then we tackle it. Sometimes we change a full space from, let's say, lounge seating to dining, because the restaurant needs more dining. It feels to the operations that guests are enjoying more the dining experience than the lounge experience when having a drink or small bites. So we tackle the whole space, and then we change it into full. For example, the samba room changes without even me. They would remove furniture. They would create full themes. They would,
based on the needs of their clients.
Exactly. So this is a punctual change, while sometimes we do a full change, and sometimes we enhance. Sometimes we add. Another example: when we first did Dream, we didn't have the piano statement on the left side, right? But then in the second season, we created a full pedestal for it, a piano, and then this was part of the act, and was a big part of the
100%.
act. And now, for example, we're doing a different change in Dream, now in Ramadan, where we are changing the full back of Dream and creating higher levels, more premium seating areas
for a new season.
Of course, for a new season, and this will allow us also to have more people in the perfect location facing the stage. We added 3 more tables facing the stage because we moved the staircase completely to the back. So this is a very accurate example to your question.
Gilbert, we all speak about sustainability, and it's the trend. But other than sustainability, how do you introduce sustainability? How do you introduce or integrate smart solutions into your designs?
It's not always sustainability. Sustainability is very important for sure. Sometimes the innovative approach is a sustainable approach.
Like what?
I can give you also another example. It's always Sushi Samba coming to my head now, because it was a big thing. When we got the design of Sushi Samba here in Dubai, we had a huge bamboo structure in the ceiling. I think it's around 600-700 square meters of bamboo, because it's actually above most of the ceiling, right? And the place is 1,000 square meters. So it's around 800 square meters of a big bamboo structure. Sushi Samba is on the 51st floor in a tower. Logistically, it was impossible to bring in maybe a guy from Taiwan with big buckets of water and bamboo and start to bend it and wait for it to bend to create all these fluid forms, this parametric design that we have. So
what did you do?
We started again. So
how did you sleep?
You think it's real bamboo? Maybe some people think it's real bamboo, right?
I believe it's real bamboo.
No, so it's not. So here's the thing. We looked into different ideas, GRP, wood pieces that look like... Anyway, we looked into it. But then at the end, we decided to go into 3D printing.
Wow.
So all the structure that you see is made out of sustainable material, which is recycled, that they use in the 3D printing. And it's made out of 16,000 pieces of 3D printed bamboo, this big. And excluding the chandelier, because we added this later, so you can add a little bit more for the chandelier. And this was a big step for us, because we had used 3D printing for the first time, and we had used it with a startup here in Dubai who were a very small startup, and now because of this project they became bigger and bigger because they did
Because of
a
this
huge
project.
thing. This project was very important for them, and now they're doing projects in KSA. They became very big because of this project.
And you're using this company to
we
mirror
use
what
this
you did?
company to do it also in Singapore as well, because again the logistics and the time it took to 3D print a structure as such was way more efficient than doing the real thing.
Yes.
Maybe in Asia it's better to do the real thing, but in Singapore itself you anyway have to go back to Indonesia or so. And logistically it's tough because the ceiling is a parametric ceiling. It has different angles, different curves, different connections, and goes all around. You cannot mess up the heights. You can.
Yeah. And it's
A
800,
3D is done to 100% in the design, following the dimensions, and printed to 100%. And if you had any issue, you just reprint a small part
Exactly.
and just install it. So this for us was an interesting innovation that we had worked on, and we are using it now. We're going to use it in Milan as well, hopefully, in the Sushi Samba that we're going to do there. So, and it was also a sustainable approach.
Yes.
I feel that this was like a really strong
Innovative way to find solutions.
100%.
Since we're talking about the solutions and we're talking about technology and stuff like that, do you think that AI, I mean, there's AI now in every single, in communications and marketing and design, and we have AI tools for design. Do you think this technology is gonna complement or reshape the design sector?
At the moment, it's still very primitive. But AI is very smart, but still very primitive when it comes to our field.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Sometimes we tried in the last year to use AI to do some mood boards. So if you give the AI a proper brief, you tell him, I want to do a mood board for a Met hotel room, but in an urban situation, because I want it, for example, in Singapore or in Milan, or so you give him a clear brief, and you tell him, I want 4 images for this room, okay, as a mood board. He may give you something very interesting, but then there are a few things that you don't like.
Exactly.
Then you tell him, please change for me.
It will never happen.
The bed. Then you get something completely different. So it may give you a first nice thing, but then you cannot evolve it.
Maybe an inspiration, probably.
That's why I can tell you that I can barely use it for mood boards at the moment. Maybe in 50 years, or maybe in 10 years, maybe in 2 years, it will become very strong to a point where it actually can understand the changes that you want and actually be able to. But it's nothing like the human interaction with a designer, going and seeing other project and discussing with your client and tell him why this is better. Well, it's different. You're talking to a robot at the end.
To a robot at the end of the day, exactly.
It's artificial intelligence.
When
it will take time.
It will take time, I think, in all the sectors anyway. So,
but it may get there. It may get there
maybe,
for sure.
In the future.
Looking at how technology is improving so fast, I have a feeling it will probably also build its own house.
Well, let's see with the future things. Sometimes we use technology and on our side to implement, to enhance, to fix. But when people become dependent on AI, that's when the clash happens, and that's when you see that we need interaction from human beings. Speaking about interactions, sometimes we get disagreements, right, between you, the team, I don't know, the management on certain projects. How do you handle that in general, especially that you're a designer and your taste is evolved in this case?
When it comes to Sunset, the good thing about all of us is that I feel that most sides are aligned when it comes to the vision of a brand, for example. Operations are aligned, the brand manager is aligned, management is aligned, I am aligned. So we all speak the same language.
Okay.
But again, I'm an architect and there are operations. There are people, you know how it is also in Sunset. A bartender can become a GM.
Yes.
Right? We evolve. That's the cool thing about Sunset. But at the end, this person is not an architect.
Yeah.
So this is also my part. Again, like we said, we have to educate the client somehow. So sometimes I have to explain to our management why do we need to do this, why do we need to do that, and then at the end I give my expertise and my advice.
Yeah.
But they can decide that no, this is the way to go, especially higher management, and how they see fit.
I think operations look at the side where things become practical,
For sure.
while you look for practical as well, but you also look aesthetics, you look functionality.
Yeah,
et cetera,
but
et cetera.
sometimes also operations, they have a say in the brand as a brand, right? The brand also has to make sense for them, because if you're doing an Azure and he has been handling Azure for this long, he knows what Azure is, you
Yes.
know, and he lives it on a daily basis, while I know how it is from the outside, more, you know.
Exactly. What skills are essential to succeed in the design sector?
Listen, this sector is very, very diverse, because first of all, you definitely have to be creative to be able to be in this field.
Okay.
But sometimes some people like it, but they are not that creative. And even though they work on themselves and they go into this field and study at a good school, etc., still the potential is different when you're creative or you're not creative. But it doesn't mean that they cannot work in this field because it is diverse. For example, you can be an architect who is creative and doing the concept designs, and then you can be an architect or interior designer doing the detailed design and working on the small details, how things are installed, how things, the terminations, how things work together, the different marriage between different materials, etc.
Okay.
Or you can be an interior designer or an architect working on site, making sure that the whatever was drawn is actually being installed correctly and built correctly. Or you can be at the end a project manager. You can even diverse to that. So
Okay.
it's a big field where you don't have to have a specific skill to do all of these things, but it depends on what you like to do. And if you like this field and you want to go in a specific, you know, again, if you love design, you love design. If you love carpentry, but you did this actually just to understand how carpentry helps create a project, then you become a site architect, and then you are more involved with the contractor, more involved in the, you know, in the building of the.
So there's space for everyone, as long as you have the minimum required skills for this.
Correct.
What about the trends, Gilbert? What makes you excited the most about trends in the world of design?
Honestly, I don't believe a lot in trends.
I mean, they come and go.
Because they come and go.
Yes.
I know that we have to follow them. But in Sunset, I don't know if you have noticed, we always aim to create a timeless design. And this is why I agree with this approach that Sunset has. Because if you do a trendy hotel this year and becomes not trendy next year, you have a problem of changing all this trend that you have created, right? This trendy design doesn't make sense anymore. So when we create a timeless design, you are in a good spot. This design will always be appealing for a guest, will always feel comfortable for a guest to visit. And then it can last 5 years. It can last, sometimes it can last 10 years. Some strong concepts last this long. So I believe in a timeless design. And then you can have a trendy element inside that
which
can be changed. Yeah, but you don't do a full design that is trendy. It can be a trendy Instagrammable area.
Exactly.
You know, so that's how I think, how we see things in Sunset, and I believe in that.
Speaking about Sunset, what does it mean to you, Sunset Hospitality Group?
It's a good question. I've been here for 5 years. And I think, again, when like I mentioned, when Antonio called me and told me we were planning to do the hotel division, it was not there yet. And we didn't have those big, strong brands like Sushi Samba. Then we created Aura. Then we created Dream. So I was part of this rebellious, wave that came to Sunset, where they went into the hotel business. So I worked on the first hotel, which was Bodrum. And we were so much involved, me and Antonio and Naz and Christoph. And you know, we were there spending nights in the hotels while it was being built, changing things on the go, We spent months in Bodrum, for example, because it was our first hotel. So I feel that I was so involved that I am really part of this company. And when I work for this company, I don't work as if it's maybe everybody says this, but I really work as if it's my company, because I have helped build this success. My part as at least. Yes, because I build the things that you see, right? What you see is what I help build. Then the experience, then the food, then the atmosphere, then the service, etc. They are there as well. But I was the first person who has created this entity that we are using, if you know what I mean.
I got you. I totally get you. And we can see that whenever we have or whenever we visit, it's not only the food, it's always the food plus the decoration plus the design plus the environment plus the team who host us. So thank you for providing us always with this exceptional experiences, even when it comes to the design part. And we're looking forward to more designs in the future. The pipeline is full as usual. And do you have anything to add at the end of this episode?
I think it's important also to see how in Sunset, as we grow, the teams grow. It's important to, like I mentioned, to know that I was the first person in this department, and I have created this department from scratch, and now I have a great team who is working on all of these projects between Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. And for me, I am enjoying this growth so much, because I see the potential, and I see how from one person I was able to create a big team who is helping put Sunset even in a higher place and in a more
structured position in the world of hospitality. Anyway, we are a powerhouse now, so we know that we're growing in a very fast way, but it's very sustainable, and we're looking for even more and more exciting projects. Thank you, Gilbert, for being with us today.
It was a pleasure.
And thank you for watching this episode. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sunset Hospitality Group, and follow us on Instagram to keep up with the latest updates of Sunset Hospitality Group.